and welcome to Casting Cues. I'm Kathi Carey, and we're going to continue today with Risa Bramon García, so let's go. You did a number of films with Oliver Stone. What was it like to work with him?
It was great to work with Oliver. He was a fantastic collaborator. He had an incredible vision all the time. So every movie you went into the world of that film. And that was exciting because, and he demanded that, you know, when you went to Wall Street, we all had to go down to Wall Street. We had to talk to real people. We had to be on the floor of the exchange. We had to watch The Sweet Smell of Success. We had to read The Art of War. We had to, you know, hang out with brokers. We had to go to bars and talk to, you know, brokers and people in that world. And we had to go to union meetings and in Queens, you know, and that was incredible because when you did that, you felt like you were in the world and you'd find people. I mean, I know actors don't want to hear this, but you'd find real people to do little things. And also, you'd learn about it and you'd feel like you were doing something, you were part of something bigger than you. And because my career is bigger than casting, for me it wasn't defined by one thing. It was enter the world and help recreate that or help, you know, bring that to life. And so that's what I loved about working on his movies and all the Vietnam things. I mean, you felt like you were in those worlds. In JFK, you felt like, you know, we went to the book depository. And we were there and we took pictures and we recreated, we brought the extras down and took pictures of them, you know, in that, and then we brought other people in to make sure it was right, and that was pretty amazing. I mean, we read so much. We had to read the Garrison book before we did the movie. We were all required to do that. And also for me with Oliver, I mean, I ultimately was a producer on a couple of his movies because I got very involved in the scheduling and in the creative vision of it with him. And I was there as the voice of women. I don't know that I was successful. I tried on a number of films. The Doors was one, and a number. And you know, he was always very open to hearing notes about the material, about the script.
So after casting all these amazing films, you moved quite effortlessly, it seems, into casting television. You cast the pilot for Roseanne, you cast a couple of seasons of CSI New York, amongst a bunch of other TV shows. So what was different from casting film into casting television?
Television's faster. You know, I had a thing about TV. I was a feature casting person. I wasn't going to go near television. That was for other people. But I realized that if you can cast television, you can do just about anything. It's fast. It's hard. It's intense. You're dealing with a lot of people, a lot of politics, and you're working incredibly fast. And there's something great about that. You don't have 6 months to you know, to find a part. You have to do it in 6 hours. And sometimes that's fantastic because you just got to throw it in there. Pilots are tough. Pilots are like difficult births. You know, you're in labor a really long time. It's really hard. Because you're birthing some things, and the tone of the show and the feel of the show and the whole essence of the show is determined in those few weeks you have to cast that pilot. Right. And it's actors out there are actually guinea pigs coming in for auditions because it's usually through the casting process that the creative team figures out what the show is. And once I figured that out, actually, it was very freeing for me. And I keep saying to actors, you know, I know this is really crazy and really rough, but we're figuring it out. We're like, you're coming in the kitchen and you're throwing in an ingredient. We're either throwing the whole thing out or we're starting, you know, okay, well, now this is what it is. Oh, okay, now we know what the show is. You know, and so actors become sort of a part of that process. And so it's painful in that that's really hard to do, to create something as you go.
Do you have any final advice for actors?
I think that it's really important as actors to remember that we know more than we think that we do, and to trust our instincts when we read a script, when we want a job, when we walk in the room, whatever it is, that we so quickly give up. And I say we, as artists in this town, certainly, we give up our voices, we give up our instincts, we give up our sense of ourselves, and I think it's really important to embrace that. I also think it's important to find your tribe, to find your community, especially in LA, where we're so isolated. We're isolated at home on our computers. We're isolated without the theater to go to and the theater companies. And there are here, and there's a lot of young actors who are loving it. A friend of mine just went back to New York and said, I feel like I've been asleep for so long in LA, but he said, I gave it all. As soon as I got here, he said, I fell into that thing that actors fall into, which is waiting for the phone to ring and, you know, just living a very isolated life, going from Trader Joe's to the gym, you know, to my agent's office, to home, to like going for a hike, and forgetting that you need to be creating work with other artists. That's what you're meant to do. Acting is collaborative. And it's really important to find that community of actors and directors and other creative people and make something happen. So I think that's a big thing for actors to take responsibility for, and write. Everybody should write for themselves. They should write for other people. They should write. I wish I had done more of that when I was in my 20s. You know, I'm just starting to write. I'm a really young writer, script writer. Of course, coming from the theater, I didn't believe that I could because I was working with such great playwrights. But I think that if you have something to say, you should say it and you should put it down on paper and you should shoot it and you should show it to people, you know. And I think actors should self-tape. I think they should do their own auditions sometimes. You can't get in the room, who cares? And I also think that if you can't get in the room in front of a director, and this is for actors who usually are used to that, you know, I had an agent email me yesterday and say, you know, I can't get my actor in the room for this casting person, for this director. Mm-hmm. You know, if you know this director, can you help me? And I just said, who's the casting director? Well, get her in the room for that person, because people forget that they think it's an ego thing. There's the category of actor who goes right to the director and producers, and then there's the category of actor who have to pre-screen. But the truth is, if you get in the room with a casting director and it's a casting director who can help you get there, what a gift that is. And then let them, whoever they are, watch you on film, because at the end of the day, it's going to be posted. That's the new process. Everything's posted on these casting sites. People are watching you in a 2-inch square, and that's what it is now. So you may as well take control of that if you can, and however you do that, however you do your best work, you know, go home and film it, you know, with a friend. Do it 16 times till you get it right. And then you say, okay, today I acted and I did great work and I'm happy with that. You know, put it on your computer, send it off, and move on to the next acting thing.
Thank you so much, Risa, and thank you for joining us. We'll see you next time on Casting Cues.